Okay, moving on to the show and tell section. Well, do you need more time, Josh, or can you start up? All right, go ahead. Why don't you start with what you have?
No, I need a few more minutes.
Okay.
But we'll go through the room first and come back to you.
All right. Who would like to start? John?
I guess it's me.
Since I've been single, that's what's there to us.
Okay. Probably up on the table.
No, I'll just go to this other.
Yeah, just bring it right here.
We'll turn the camera around.
Hang on, give me about a dozen of pallets while I'm up here.
Quite a few members we have. And he did the poll tax too.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, it's been a while that I bought the, what is this thing? This is it's a lighthouse tender.
Beech?
The name is Beech.
Beech.
The tree. And, but it's been a while since I brought it. I've been working on fittings, getting it to the point where I can disassemble it and paint it. And, but I just thought I'd bring and show you the latest on this thing. Is this show up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I've been working on the windlass here lately, and I'm proud of that. It's a nice piece. And scratch built everything except let's get the scratch built all that stuff on there. And we have the skylight, the engine skylights, the engine casing over the boiler, the lights, davits, the after compass, and this one's in two pieces. And the reason it's in two pieces is made the first one, which is in here. And as I was making the second one, something slipped in the lathe. It wrecked it, so I cut the whole top off and made another top. And the flag staff back here, the davits or the stanchions, and this is what normally happens on the ship model, which kind of gave me the idea maybe we need a fittings exchange or fittings bank. Is one short.
Of
Always one short.
Of course.
And so I made one, and then of course the thing is you spot the one I made. Nice thing about building a model, and I think something that everyone should do is you should make them so that they can be taken. Ron will tell you, he does a lot of refurbishment, that they need to be made so they can be taken apart and refurbished. Like the wheels falling off the steering stand. But that comes off. This comes off. All of this comes off, but everything else right at the moment is actually screwed down, screwed in place. And then the trick is to find where you hide the screws. And there's one of them down there at the bottom of the stack, and that's showing up.
Yep.
Hold that on, and that actually holds the whole floor piece off on. If you take this off, there's a screw that holds the deck house down, and then if you take this off, there's a screw that holds the top of the deck house down. And then there's this thing. This being a lighthouse tender and also a buoy tender, it had a boom, and it has this crazy A-frame arrangement. Is it showing up? Okay, my hand out of the way. This one had an A-frame and then the boom, and it's so complicated rig so that they could go back and forth and raise and lower and all that. That's all got to be worked out. But the boom sort of mystified me for a while, and I tried 2 or 3 different ways and how I wanted to make this. Was it going to be wood? You know, like that. Styrene, it's not my favorite. And then just make it individual pieces of brass soldered together. I thought about that. I said, I don't think we're going to do that with soldering. And I said, well, you know, there's always photo etch. And so I drew up the piece and got it to my photo etch man. And Gene photo etched it. And he was so excited that he brought over the product in about a day. And then, man, what turnaround, that's good stuff. Now, I have to confess, I didn't put this one together. Gene made two of them, two sets. And he put this one together and primed it. And I'm still debating on whether I want to use it or not, or just go ahead and assemble the second one. You know, I can claim that I made it.
I want to be disqualified.
Exactly. And, there's already a few store-bought pieces on here that mean I have to go semi-scratch, like this ventilator shapes and the propeller back here. But that's where I stand at the moment. I'm real close to being able to take it home, take it apart, and then do the finishing process on what's left.
You show the rear turn you modeled around or either camera?
Glad you
Yeah, of the model, of the
glad
model.
you said model.
Of the model.
And there's the rudder. And
Turn it a bit more so we can see the prop, please.
Yeah, just
Is that RC?
no, it's not RC. It's
Okay.
just solid hull. And I've got my favorite plating method of using paper strips is on there to show the plating. Get it down where you see plating or not.
I can make it out at the bow.
Yeah.
There. So this plating. And this interesting piece right here, since it was part of the lighthouse service, they had that medallion on the bow
That's cool.
of all their ships, and it's a lighthouse. I'm still not happy with this particular lighthouse. They may come off, but I'd like to. But that's where I stand.
Is that bill, do you have a bill log on MSW?
No, I do not. And I
What a
don't
shame. That is a.
know if I'm going to either. But the thought was there. I'm not the best at documenting.
Now you
what I
can
do.
load up stuff on our website.
But now, and a matter of fact, I was back here drooling.
Hint, hint,
And
hint.
now I'm thinking, I'm gonna probably put what I have on our website. But I've had fun with this one. This has been an interesting ship. I think I told you the history on it a couple of meetings ago. So, yeah,
What year? I assume it's steam,
1925, 26.
it's
something like
steam,
that. Steam powered.
steel hull.
Steel hull. It was the only steel hull vessel that was built at that particular shipyard that I could find. Because it has a short history, the shipyard had a short history. So, oh, there you go. Don't show my mistakes.
see, photography will show.
That's why I'm a little worried about Gene showing up there. When I paint it, I can hide stuff. But it's been fun. It's been a fun project. Tremendous amount of machining pieces this time. And there's still more to do. That's all I have.
Fantastic.
Anybody else over here? George? Yes, I am.
This is gonna be very short. It's not exactly a show and tell. I ran across this the other day. Smithsonian magazine. I'm sure some of you have read it. It's and he's speaking a very classy magazine, upscale. To show that we have come a long way, I opened it up. As I was going through it, I discovered this 2-page ad in here. Full 2 pages. Model Expo. Trying to sell the concept of ship modeling to more people. That I consider a major breakthrough if it gets any business. So here it is up here if anybody wants to look at it. And as I was going through all the stuff, came across several of these steel rulers. I brought in 2. I've already given one away. I'm going to give the other one to Daniel.
Hey, I got one for my kids. All right, moving right around the table. Charles?
Brought a couple of things. I don't want to drop that. So everybody needs tools, right? Who doesn't need a tool? Oh, yeah. So Amazon had this wood burning tool, but it has a collet on the front, so you can put knife blades in it. So what I find that interesting is if you want to use it for shaving off plastic, using it, heat removal, that's good for that. It's also good if you're going to work in foam and you want to carve in foam. So if you do model railroading or some other, doll houses and you want to do a rock chimney or something like that, that's good for that. Also, if you have that Missouri kit from 1955 and you want to make the turrets turn, remember you got to take a hot screwdriver and melt the post at the bottom. Yeah, well, there you go. That's number one. That was off Amazon. It's $16. It comes with 3 collets. It also comes with the wood burning tip. The second thing is I brought in my, last time I brought in the box of the maritime drone. So I've actually got it assembled. Pretty quick build. Goes together pretty well, but it's a limited injection molded kit, so the fit is it's not pinned or anything like a high quality kit. But it's still a very nice kit. I forgot to mention the front of the box says produced in free Ukraine during the Russian invasion. A little bit of propaganda there.
Yes.
As I mentioned last meeting, this is a first generation drone, and it has in the back the Starlink radar receiver, satellite receiver. Oh yeah.
There it is.
Wow. There you go.
Holy cow.
Is that a Moscow?
No, and the Moscow was taken out by 2 cruise missiles.
Sure.
So anyway, and then the device standing proud is the electro-optical device. So I actually, it came as a lump of plastic, so I reworked it with some styrene and some brass metal stripping. These breakwaters actually came with the kit, and I was very hesitant to put them in place, but they locked in beautifully. There's little recesses. If you got them at the right angle, they just set in perfectly. There's a little device at the very bow. I don't know what it is. These are, I think, the 2 warheads, or the warhead detonators, and then there's a tow point that was missing that I added, and then I reworked the Fairwaters hydroplanes in the back. Anyway, nice little kit. It's 1/35 scale, so this is a 16-foot vessel. Now, I bring it with me. I did not. So one of the things I was trying to do is how to display this, and I originally thought I'd put it in water, but I decided not to. I found these diagrams online. This is 6 of them in production, and if you study the drawings, you'll notice that the fiberglass layup on each boat is a little bit different. Each shape, they're all handcrafted. And the EO, the electro-optical sensor, varies by boat. But as I mentioned, this is first generation. They've really moved on. But using this as an inspiration, I went ahead and fabricated a boat skid for it. I made that out of just sheet styrene and also plastruck angle. And then I had some hex stock where you bolt the plywood cradle into it. So that's ready for painting, and it's just going to be rust colored with some of the angle iron, more steel color. Then the third thing I brought real fast is I found this online, and last month I brought in my a 3D printed French dreadnought. This is out of a company that does 3D printing in China. These are laser etched plywood buildings in 1/35 scale. 1/350th scale. And so this will make 5 different buildings. And so I'm going to use part of those to make, I'm going to put my vessel in a dry dock. And So I'm going to cannibalize some of these buildings to build up something that looks like it was in the dockyard. And I'm emulating, I can't remember what the port is, but it's Brittany Coast. Brest. Yeah, because the dry docks in Brest are different than the ones in Toulon. I found out. That's it.
All right, very good. Thanks.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
That drone, is it a contact explosive or is it a torpedo? What is it?
No, it's contact explosive. The front end of the boat is packed with about 500 pounds of explosive, and it rams the vessel. And if you've been watching the drone attacks, there was an LST that was hit recently, and there was also a guided missile boat that was hit. Did we lose them?
Oh, sorry.
That's a modern day Hunley.
Well, yeah, sort of. And so what they did was they've been swarming these in packs. And so the one that took out the LST, what they did was the first vessel, and then these are later generation ones, smash in the side of the ship, blow a hole, and then they bring a second one in and drive it into the hole in the side of the ship. And then that detonates into the engineering department. So you have to stop these at a distance, because once they're against your side, you're dead. If you've been following in the news, there was a rib boat that was found inverted off the coast of Romania. It turned out to be an American-provided rib boat. And in it it bolted to the front of the boat, forward of the console, was a 2,000-pound boat off of an old Styx missile. We think, the speculation is online, and this is by credible sources, not just discussion boards, is that the Ukrainians are trying to up their game because they'll need less drones if they get impact. And if they're targeting the bridge, they need more oomph than the last time they hit. So you can always just send a container ship.
I have a question also.
Yes,
Charles, you have a question?
yes.
I reached out to Charles because Ward Stoll had a question on how to clean an airbrush. And he wrote up some excellent instructions on how to clean an airbrush. And,
It was wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm thinking about
Great.
it.
I have a question about the wood burner. Is it possible any of those tips can be used to bend a wooden plank for ship modeling?
Well, I think what you'd have to do, one of the tips on here is a wood burning tip. But I think you'd have to get the plank really wet. The problem is, and I've never bent planks because I don't work in that medium. But I think you have to then put a bend on it somehow, right? You get it wet.
Mine has round.
In 2 months, I'm going to do a tech talk, and I'm going to show you how to do it with a travel iron.
You can also get short little copper nipples at hardware stores that you just put on the end of a soldering iron. Yeah, wet your plank, and in different sizes you can make different arcs. If you unscrew the collet, it's just a regular screw point for a soldering iron.
You gotta
Or
be
wood
careful
burning
how they're using a wood burner
Yes.
because it burns the wood. So you're not
Yeah.
careful, you will.
Yeah, but the travel iron provides just enough heat. If you make a form, you can put any kind of curve. You can do it laterally, you can do it in the direction of the grain. But I'll be showing that.
All righty. You got something? All right.
Oh, I've already got my stuff up on the screen, so
Oh, okay.
let me show that.
All right. Well, we'll do Greg first.
All right, so an update on the glacial progress of my new workshop. I don't know why it's showing up so small. I've got this shared from my phone. Not sure what I can do about that.
It was bigger a minute ago.
It was.
I mean, you did it full screen. I looked.
Yeah, took the whole screen.
Yeah,
There you
Oh,
go.
I had to turn my phone sideways, that's why. So Gene helped me install the attic ladder about a week ago. And there was, after he left, I cut the legs to the proper length. So this is good for up to a 10-foot ceiling, so you have to cut the legs off. And I made a mark, turned around to get my carpenter square, came back, drew a line, and cut it to that line, and then went, oh, because it wasn't at the same spot as the other leg.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a real pucker moment there before I was able to figure out whether I cut it too short or too long. Fortunately, it was too short. So I just had to cut it again. But anyway, yeah, be careful. And then I was just from the other direction. So as you can see, I've got a lot of work left to do on the drywall. Fun, fun, fun. But it's getting closer and closer and closer. Very slowly, like a glacier.
You know, Gene's gonna photo etch that ladder.
Yeah.
Overnight.
All right.
Let's see, stop sharing. Okay.
All right, very good. You're up. Did you want to relocate it here?
Yes.
I can do that. Yeah. That way we can, It's a blue jacket. Cross section of the Charles W. Morgan, the whaling ship, was Mystic. It only came out a couple of years ago. I think I built this in 2022. And I think I might have shown it online, but I've had a chance to bring it in. The best part about this kit is the tri-works. The way you build this brick in here is that you use these tiny laser cut pieces of cork. Beautifully done. Wow. You actually build it just like you would a brick wall or a brick container. You paint it red, and then you use wallboard compound and rub it in to the cracks and so forth in the cork. Comes out looking exactly like brick. It's a fascinating thing to do, but fascinating. And I wouldn't call it a particularly, elegant or difficult model, but it was a hell of a lot of fun to build. Really, really fun to build. And the materials in it are really top notch. So I was able to top of the one side, but then on the other side, it is unfinished, so you can see the structure of the ship. They even send you the rocks in this pit. It's pretty nifty.
What scale?
So what? So anyway.
Oh, what scale?
What
scale?
124. 124, yeah. It's the largest thing I've ever dealt with. Yeah, that's what I work on. 198. So 124.
Is it a chicken coop?
I'm sorry.
Is it a chicken coop?
It is, yeah. Yeah. In fact, they even sent a chicken with it. I just didn't put it on. But they do a nice job. Blue jacket, as usual, always does a nice job.
I have been on that ship and down into the hole and all,
Yeah.
and you have to walk around hunched over.
Yeah, very much.
It's, not much ceiling. I mean, those guys must have been 4 feet 8.
I know.
Hey, John, what's the wood material?
What kind of wood is
it, John?
John, what?
Wood material?
What kind of wood is that?
So basswood.
That's fast.
Yeah, and in fact, the frames are actually laser cut. That's why you have the finish on them that you do. And I sand the hell out of those things, but you never get it all out.
So you didn't put a stain on it?
No, I didn't have to. I just coated it, and it was really, really, easy to work with.
Yeah.
They sent you a nice jig with it. You assemble the jig first, and then build the ribs up vertically. So it's really quite a nice method. Nice method.
How did you finish between the deck plank? Is that painted or
Between
on the planking on the deck?
oh, that was actually a printed. This one was printed.
The deck plank was printed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't look pretty.
I know, but it is. It's really nice. All the sides of it are already black.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Nice.
Stunning. All right, anyone over here? On.
We're culling the library at Matthews Maritime. This is one of the books they chose to throw out, called The Rum War at Sea. It's got some fantastic pictures of Prohibition era vessels, rum runners, Coast Guard craft. I'll probably put this on the library thing.
Yeah.
It was published in, 64? But there's some better pictures of, it talks about the Black Duck and ambushes and political corruption and the mob and all kinds of fun stuff. But called the Rum War at Sea. I'll pass it around. You guys can go, but it looks like it may have been done by the Coast Guard. I'll pass it around. You guys can look at it.
That's a neat looking book.
Yeah, I mean,
the content looks interesting, and the cover is really well done.
and they go, it doesn't really pertain to our history and whatever, and I go, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Okay, anybody else in-house here have something to show? All right, let me,
My vote over here. My vote.
oh, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I'll just leave it right here, if that's okay.
Nope.
And we're not gonna make it.
Just get started.
Oh, yeah.
Can't zoom in, but.
This is
You won't be able to get it. A couple chairs.
Okay, this is a scratch-built model of the Ruby Chrystal. She was a bar boat, drudge boat, boat of all uses that was built in where's that on there, around 1924? Yeah, built in 1924. And she's cross-planked, which is in the era where she was built. They were just getting out of the log construction and going to cross-planking. Built by Rackavai, and of course, no plans or anything for this. And this was built for a friend of the family whose grandfather owned a boat in his oyster business. His name was Rob Billups. Those of you may see a lot of his oyster cans around if you collect oyster cans and things of that nature. But traditionally, we're trying to build models of these drudge boats, bar boats, where they're used for different uses for hauling produce, watermelons, lumber, things of that nature. Finding the era to build it in is really hard because the boats change as they get another captain or they get another use. Things on the boat change, especially on the deck hardware. So this boat, where I was building it for the family, they had a few pictures, but very few pictures. So you have to improvise a lot with doing this. But doing the research as I built this model, I found a number of people that had some experience of working on this boat. They're like where we are, right, excuse me. We're at the age where we're going away, and you lose that corporate knowledge. And so when I build these boats, I try to build it as accurate and as authentic as I can, because they will be passed down through the generations. And in doing this, by having the accurate history of what it looked like in a period of time, to me is very important. So as I built this for this young lady, I began to find other people that had some corporate knowledge, and that made it very useful. I was asked earlier when I brought the boat in, did this have a boom on it?
And the answer is yes, it had a boom back in the period that, probably in the 40s, where they used a boom for not only unloading the boat with fish or oysters or things of that nature, but they would take it off at a period of time when they were dredging crabs, although they did leave it on there when they did that as well to help lift the dredges up. And you can see that there, if you look at it real close, there the cleats that they had on the side of the pilot house were securing the boom to keep it from swinging. And when I was building this boat, in the period of time that it was in, they had removed the boom and they didn't put it back. But it was enjoyable to build. Trying to build it to accuracy, you have no scale or anything. So what I do is I scale off of the pictures. So it's rather accurate within being able to take and scale from pictures and things of that nature to get it to exact scale. So this is what it turned out to be. The dredges are made from brass rod. They're all the teeth are individually soldered in place. There's a little bit of a challenge doing that. You have to use heat sinks and so forth to keep you sort of solder one tooth in, the other one wants to fall off. So you add a lot of heat sinks.
Are they copies, replicas, or what was there?
Yes, they are. They're scaled. And those are relatively common. So I was able to take and find a dredge and measure that. I made a number of these, and they're all pretty much the same. These are 7-foot dredges. They make them as much as 8 feet. And I guess the smaller oyster dredges, they'll make them maybe 3.5, 4 feet.
They look different than the Batongers.
They may be, because I had the pictures of this, and so I made it. But they're basically all the same. Matunga, I built the Matunga, and I had drawings from the Matunga. I think, matter of fact, I gave you a copy of it. And so they're basically all the same.
But you got chains on the ends of those?
Yes, built just like the real ones. They got the chains.
That's different. They weren't on.
Well, that's the way this one was built.
Did you make the
May
case?
I ask a question?
Yes, I made the case. Yes, sir.
When you did a deck shot, it didn't look like there was much of a hatch. So where were they storing the catch?
That's an excellent question, because this is the pictures that I had. Only thing I can figure is that back in a period of time, there was another hatch that was probably back in here. But it wasn't on the boat that he had, the gentleman had, Mr. Rob Billups, that I was building. So it wasn't there. There was another thing on the boat up forward. There was.
You pointed it on the ship right here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Back in here, just forward of the deck house, was probably a larger hatch that they used then for putting produce and so forth. As you probably know, that underneath the deck is the windlass and things for pulling the dredges up. So I don't know. I wish in my younger days, when these boats were around, I spent a lot of time around them, I had the interest to know just how these things built and to get the corporate knowledge at that time, why these things were built the way they were. But I don't know that. It's hard to find anyone now that really knows, but I was very fortunate at Matthews. There were a few people that have some knowledge in this. Mr. John England with DFD Crockett, he was a lot of help to me with.
Can you post pictures of this on the website?
Pardon?
Can you post pictures of that on the website?
Sure. Yeah, I just finished building this, so I haven't done much with it as far as photographs and things. as I build a boat, I document the construction all the way through. I've probably got about 40 pictures that I found at various times of this boat as it was in periods of time in history. But I've got 150 of pictures that show the building sequence as I was building, right up from drawing it, lofting it to right here.
Is that model a solid hull? Or?
No, it's a plank hull, and it's got the boards run fore and aft on
Bulkheads.
bulkheads. So I lost my thoughts. Thank you. Yeah,
But he asked if you would post stuff on the website. This is a general comment for everyone. Of course, you're encouraged to contribute photos, and you can add as many as you want. You can include construction photos if you want. It doesn't have to be just the finished model. It's up to you how much effort you want to put into it, but everything is welcome.
Well, it's neat. People don't realize what goes into one of these when you build it. So having a historical documentation of the construction of it, they find that to be an eye opener. When and I always make a book. If I build a model for someone just like this one, I have an album and I put all these pictures in. Because later on, you're going to lose all this knowledge or what it was done for and how it was built. And later on, and through the generations, they have it documented.
Very good.
And I like John was saying earlier, I fit the cabins. Everything that I know that's in the cabins, this boat's gone. So it was just guessed. All I had was the stool. His granddaughter had the stool, and I took the stool to measure the stool and built that. That's inside the cabin. And the wheel was taken off, and a young lady by the name of Terry Hudgens in Matthews, she has a coffee table made out of wheel. So I was able to get that. But everything else in there, I don't know. But you can't. I always like to be able to take the cabin for people to see what's in the cabin, because once you close it in, you can't see much. And like John said, he was take the top off, but if you put it in a case, you can't do that. And most people, where the models I build, they want them in cases.
Very good.
The other thing they find out is interesting is the railway, how they used to pull the boats up. And so rather than building a stand, this was the way they used to pull these boats up. And not many of them are around today. Might be one or two left, but they all use hydraulic force. But they had these shipways on a rail, and of course they had some angle to it, and the chain up on a winch, and they pulled them up and let them back down. And the blocks are moved to where the blocks have wedges on them, and they're strapped, and they'll move, and they push them in and secure the boat in like that.
Very good.
So that's it.
Beautiful boat.
Well done.
Lot of work.
We're running just a little bit late. What I'd like to do is maybe move towards the presentation, then pick up a couple of the straggling show and tells after the fact, so that we don't belabor the point. So
Which is still